Good evening, and welcome to this healing service from the Third Church of Christ Scientists in the city of New York. We will begin our service by singing hymn number 138. I praise thee, Lord, for blessings sent to break the dream of human power. For now, my shallow cistern spent, I find thy fount and thirst no more. Hymn 138. I will read now from the Bible and correlative passages from the Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy. This week's reading was inspired by the concept of healing, restoration, and overcoming the belief of disease. From the Bible, Exodus, and said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and wilt do that which is right in his sight, and wilt give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, and will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that healeth thee. Psalms. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases, who redeemeth thy life from destruction, who crowned thee with love kindness and tender mercies, who satisfied thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles. James. Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church, and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the Lord shall raise him up. And if he have committed any sins, they shall be forgiven. They shall be forgiven him. Confess your faults one to another, and pray one for another, that ye might be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Elias was a man subject to like passions as we are, and he prayed earnestly that it might not rain. And it rained not on the earth by the space of 3 years and 6 months. And he prayed again, and the heaven gave rain, and the earth brought forth her fruit. Matthew. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. And behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And Jesus put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleaned. And Jesus said unto him, See thou tell no man, but go thy way. Shew thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded, for a testimony unto them. And when Jesus was entering into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus said unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof. But speak thy word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, Go, and he goeth. And to another, Come, and he cometh. And to my servant, Do this, and he doeth. When Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said to them that followed, Verily I said unto you, I have not found so great faith, not in Israel. And I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into the outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the selfsame hour. And when Jesus was coming to Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laid, and sick of a fever. And he touched her hand, and the fever left. And she arose and ministered unto them. When the even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and he cast out the spirits with his word, and he healed all that were sick. That it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, Himself took our infirmities and bare our sicknesses. Now when Jesus saw great multitudes about him, he gave commandment to depart unto the other side. And a certain scribe came and said unto him, Master, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. And Jesus said unto him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. And another of his disciples said unto him, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. But Jesus said unto him, Follow me, and let the dead bury their dead. And when he was entering into a ship, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, inasmuch that the ship was covered with the waves. But he was asleep. And his disciples came to him, and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. And he said unto them, Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? And then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? And when he called When he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. Now the names of the 12 apostles are these: the first, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the publican, James the son of Alphaeus, and Lebbaeus, whose surname was Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as ye go, preach, saying, The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely ye have received, freely give. Psalms. I will exalt thee, O Lord, for thou hast lifted me up, and hast not made my foes to rejoice over me. O Lord my God, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me. O Lord, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave, thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. Sing unto the Lord, O ye saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness. For his anger endureth but a moment. In his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And in my prosperity I said, I shall never be moved. Lord, by thy favor thou hast made my mountain to stand strong. Thou didst hide my face, and I was troubled. I cried to thee, O Lord, and unto the Lord I made supplication. What profit is there in my blood when I go down in the pit? Shall the dust praise thee? Shall it declare thy truth? Hear, O Lord, and have mercy upon me, Lord. Be thou my helper. Thou hast turned for me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and greeted me with gladness, to the end that my glory may sing praise to thee and not be silenced. O Lord my God, I will give thanks unto thee forever. Proverbs. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord, and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel, and marrow to thy bones. Honor the Lord with thy substance, and with the first fruits of all thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son is whom he delighteth. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. I will read now correlative passages from the book Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy. Health is not a condition of matter, but of mind, nor can the material senses bear reliable testimony of the subject of health. The science of mind, healing, shows it to be impossible for testimony of the subject of health. The science of mind shows it to be impossible for aught but mind to testify truly or to exhibit the real status of man. Therefore, the divine principle of science reversing the testimony of the physical senses, reveals man as harmoniously existent in truth, which is the only basis of health. And thus science denies all disease, heals the sick, overthrows false evidence, and refutes materialistic logic. Against the fatal beliefs that error is as real as truth, the evil is equal in power to good, if not superior, and that discord is as normal as harmony. Even the hope of freedom from the bondage of sickness and sin has little inspiration to nerve endeavor. When we come to have more faith in the truth of being than we have in error, more faith in spirit than in matter, more faith in living than in dying, more faith in God than in man, then no material suppositions can prevent us from healing the sick and destroying error. That life is not contingent on bodily conditions is proved when we learn that life and man survive this body. Neither evil, disease, nor death can be spiritual. And the material belief in them disappears in the ratio in which one's spiritual growth. Because matter has no consciousness or ego, it cannot act. Its conditions are illusions, and these false conditions are the source of all seeming sickness. Admit the existence of matter, and you admit the mortality, and therefore disease, has a foundation in fact. Deny the existence of matter, and you can destroy the belief in material conditions. When fear disappears, the foundation of disease is gone. The prophylactic and the therapeutic, which is the preventive and curative, arts belong emphatically to Christian science, as will be readily seen in psychology or the science of spirit. God was understood, and scientific methods are finding that level, limited to matter by their own law. What have they of the advantages of mind and immortality? No man is physically healed in willful error or by it, any more than he is mortally saved or by sin. Its error even the murmur of the angry over sin. Truth makes no laws to regulate sickness, sin, and death, for these are unknown to truth and should not be recognized as reality. Belief produces the results of belief, and the penalties it affixes last so long as the belief and are inseparable from it. The remedy consists in probing the trouble to the bottom, in finding and casting out by denial the error of belief which produces a moral disorder, never honoring erroneous belief with the title of law, nor yielding obedience to it. Truth, life, and love are the only legitimate and eternal demands of man, and they are spiritual lawgivers, enforcing obedience through divine statutes. The procuring cause and foundation of all sickness is fear, ignorance, or sin. Disease is always induced by a false sense mentality entertained, not destroyed. Disease is an image of thought externalized. Evils cast out fear as the foundation. The mental state is called a material state. Whatever is cherished in mortal mind as the physical condition is imaged forth on the body. Always begin your treatment by allaying the fear of patients. Silently reassure them as to their exemption from disease and danger. Watch the result of this simple rule of Christian Science, and you will find that it alleviates the symptoms of every disease. When the illusion of sickness or sin tempts you, cling steadfastly to God and His idea. Allow nothing but His likeness to abide in your thought. Let neither fear nor doubt overshadow your cleanse of sense and calm trust that the recognition of life harmonious, as life eternally is, can destroy any painful sense of or belief in that which is life, which life is not. Let Christian science, instead of corporeal senses, support your understanding of being, and this understanding will supplant error with truth, replace mortality with immortality, and silence discord with harmony. Mentally and silently plead the case scientifically for truth. You may vary the arguments to meet the peculiar or general symptoms of the case you treat, but be thoroughly persuaded in your own mind concerning the truth which you think or speak, and you will be the victor. You may call the disease by name when you mentally deny it, but by naming it audibly, you're liable under some circumstances to impress upon the thought. The power of Christian science and divine love is omnipotent. It is indeed adequate to unclasp the hold and to destroy disease, sin, and death. To prevent disease or to cure it, the power of truth of divine spirit must break the dream of the material senses. To heal by argument, find the type of the ailment, get its name, and array your mental plea against the physical. Argue at first mentally, not audibly, that the patient has no disease, and confront the argument so that to destroy the evidence of disease. Mentally insist that harmony is the fact and that sickness is a temporal dream. Realize the presence of health and the fact of harmonious being until the body corresponds with the normal conditions of health and harmony. Divine science, rising above physical theories, excludes matter, resolves things into thoughts, and replaces the objects of material sense with spiritual ideas. The term Christian science was introduced by the author to designate the scientific system of divine healing. The revelation consists of two parts. First, the discovery of this divine science of mind healing through a spiritual sense of the scriptures and through the teachings of the Comforter, as promised by the Master. Second, the proof by present demonstration that the so-called miracles of Jesus did not specifically belong to a dispensation now ended, but that they illustrated an ever-operative divine principle. The operation of this principle indicates the eternality of the scientific order and continuity being. Christian science differs from the material science, but not on that account is less scientific. Rise in the strength of spirit to resist all that is unlike God. God has made man capable of this, and nothing can vitiate the ability and power divinely bestowed on man. Be firm in your understanding that the divine mind governs, and that in science, man reflects God's government. Have no fear that matter can ache, swell, and be inflamed as the result of a law of any kind, when it is self-evident that matter can have no pain nor inflammation. Your body will suffer no more from tension or wounds than the trunk of a tree which you gash or the electric wire which you stretch, were it not for mortal mind. Let us now pray for this congregation, first in silence, and then we will say the Lord's Prayer together aloud. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debt as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Let us sing now hymn number 202. O dreamer, live thy dreams for joyful waking. O captive, rise and sing, for thou art free. The Christ is here, all dreams of error breaking, and loosing bonds of all captivity. He comes to bless thee on his wings of healing, to banish pain and wipe all tears away. He comes anew to humble hearts relieving the mountain footsteps of the upper way. Hymn 202. The Third Church of Christ Scientist in the city of New York is a branch of the Mother Church, the First Church of Christ Scientist in Boston, Massachusetts. We hold Sunday services at 11 a.m. and Wednesday testimony meetings at 7:30 p.m. On these testimony meetings, we include singing hymns, reading from the Bible and the Christian Science textbook, and the opportunity to hear how people are living what they are learning from their study of Christian Science. We also hold our services in Spanish on Sundays at 12 noon and Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. All our services are held online and in person here in our church at 583 Park Avenue in the city of New York. You are all welcome to join us. Third Church offers Sunday school classes in person and online for children and teens. On Sunday school, students learn how much God loves them and cares for them. They also learn about the Bible characters and lessons and the healing power of truth. For more information on times and classes, please send us an email at thirdchurch@thirdchurchnyc.com. We also invite you to listen to our English and Spanish talks on our website, thirdchurchnyc.com. On the website, you will also find all our past lectures and services for your enjoyment. A Church of Christ Scientist New York invites you to a talk on Christian Science titled Finding Where God Is, Seen and Felt by Carol Embra Farkas, CSB, next Monday 28th at 7:30 p.m. in their church. Christian Science is a hidden religion. Now all of you present and online are invited to share experiences, testimonies, and observation about Christian Science and to support our congregation with prayer. If you're listening by phone and would like to share a testimony, please press the asterisks, then number 6. Our technician is listening and he will activate your voice. At the time you will have the floor, please speak directly onto your phone's microphone. Do not use the speakerphone so we can hear you better. If you're attending via Zoom, please unmute your microphone and you will have the floor. This afternoon, I had a very interesting conversation with someone regarding Christian Science. I told this person that, I have to leave. I have to go to church right now. And she has an idea of what my religion is. So she goes like, "You're a Christian Scientist, right?" I said, "Yes, I am." And she says, "You don't believe in doctors, right?" I said, "No, I do believe in doctors. Just not for me, but I do believe in them because my healing and my power comes from a different type of doctor, a mental type of doctor, from God, from mine. Me and him are one, and he's one with me." And she mentioned how she would be dead if it wasn't because of modern medicine. So I kind of playfully said, "You might not be if you had the belief that I have, because just as you believe in your medicine, I believe in mine. And they are just as powerful, just two different paths to the same place." She sat there looking at me, marveled that I had such an answer. And I was actually myself marveled that that came to me, that my medicine and the medicine of the doctors, it was kind of a funny situation. But I do remember that when I was putting this lesson together, that was what was in my mind. How much power Mrs. Eddy has awakened into us. It's not that she created the power or she gave us the power. No, she just woke us up to the realization that we have that power to negate illness, to negate lack, to negate disease. And that little conversation kind of brought to me why I put the lesson together. And I don't know, it kind of made me grin and made me feel special for having had that thought. I just wanted to share that with you all.
Thank you for your readings. My sister gave me a book by Doris Goodwin, and she wrote about her husband and his lifetime. And I'm just beginning to get into it, but read enough that her husband was a very gifted and intelligent man. He was he went through a Harvard Law School, and he was the captain or the head of the law review when in his third year. That's a very big deal, you know. That's a spot of great honor and distinction, and he didn't choose. He was very reticent to go the path of being a corporate lawyer. He wanted very much to make government work. He was a believer in the idea of the democracy of the United States, and he helped presidents write wonderful speeches, and was a very inspiring guy. And in my lifetime, I've lived through the civil rights movement and the women's movement, and not the suffragettes, but freedom and independence, and seen spirited movements in various forms and shapes in my lifetime. And in reading the lesson this morning, you can feel that the disciples were really very much touched and transformed and vigorous in their promotion and doing God's will to spread the gospel of Jesus and to heal as he did. I mean, their writings are full of enthusiasm and yearning that others should see and understand what they saw and understand. And one reflects on that and what a satisfying cause or spirit that Christian Science brings. Here it's 2,000 years later, and that idea of the kingdom of heaven and fulfilling all the laws that Moses brought, and the continuity of the Bible and the growth of this of being God's people, and Mrs. Eddy bringing that we pray to have that same mind that was in Jesus, that was to have that in mind in ourselves. And still it seems fresh, I mean, it's still, Mrs. Eddy's got a passage in Science and Health that says, God is love. Farther we cannot look, higher we cannot go. And that idea of the allness and the infinite love, divine love, is sort of the summum bonum, the highest good, that which should inspire and lead and guide is still a very vibrant idea and motivation. And you know, Mrs. Eddy keeps insisting, it's demonstrable. You can do it. Go out and Jesus said you should do it. You should do it. And so it's a challenge and a cause. And I'm very grateful for this church and fulfilling that idea and that growth.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you very much for having this service. I couldn't be there tonight because I didn't have a car to get there, but or I would be. I'm sorry, but your topic and your readings remind. It's wonderful that when we have what we call instantaneous healings in Christian Science, because that's what really makes it a science. Is what it is. It's cause and effect. And I recall an instantaneous healing I had a number of years ago. It was the middle of the winter and I was flat on my back. I was reading some, at the time I wasn't flat on my back. I was healthy and I was reading the night before to prepare for some college entrance boards. And I was reading comprehension passages, and they were all about cancer. And I realized, you know, I really shouldn't be reading this, but it got into quite some detail and went into all kinds of things about cancer and that we were made of cells, and for some reason, no reason, although they can go haywire at any time. Well, when I woke up the next morning, I had a terrible, sick with a terrible flu, all the symptoms, fever, all the symptoms of a terrible flu. And I was living in Queens and had to struggle into Manhattan for a tutoring session. It was February, the middle of the winter. I did it. And when I got back home, I flopped down on the couch and I said, I was just totally exhausted. I mean, just didn't have any, everything was just uh, going wrong. So I thought to myself, okay, how did this happen? And I said, yes, I was reading that article last night about this thing. I said, well, now how would I think about that in Christian Science? Well, in Christian Science, we know that man is idea. Man is a spiritual idea and divine mind. But he's not just any idea. He's a compound spiritual idea, including all right ideas. And I said, wait a minute. My body isn't made up of cells that can go haywire at any time. I'm a spiritual idea. My body is made up of spiritual ideas which can never go haywire at any time. And that thought, that was an angel message. It sent chills up and down my spine. It still does now, even when I'm talking. And it was a light switch. It was like flipping a light switch. All the symptoms completely disappeared. It was like, cause and effect. There is no physiological or material explanation you could ever give for that. My strength came back, all the runny nose, the headache, the fever, gone. And it was like this week's lesson it reminded me of that. It says in this week's lesson, I think it's the 5th section, because the so-called material body is a mental concept and governed by mortal mind, it manifests only what that so-called mind expresses. Therefore, the efficient remedy is to destroy the patient's false belief by both silently and audibly arguing the true fact in regard to harmonious being, representing man as healthy instead of disease, and showing that it is impossible for matter to suffer or feel pain or heat or be thirsty or sick. Destroy fear and you end fever. And that citation from this week's lesson reminded me of that instantaneous healing. There is no material, physical explanation. It's totally truth. She says, she tells us when our false belief is corrected, truth sends a report of health over the body. And that's what happened. I had taken in this false belief about this disease, and the truth sent us a report of health over my body. I could not be inspired and be sick at the same time. It was impossible. And it showed that, as the readings pointed out, disease is simply an image of God externalized. And when that thought was put off, all the symptoms went. Yes, Christian Science is indeed a science. It works cause and effect. Mind is the healer and man is the image and likeness. And I'm so grateful for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your presence, your testimonies, and your prayers. We will conclude our meeting by singing hymn number 287. Prayer with our waking thought ascends. Great God of light, to thee darkness is banished in the glow of thy reality. Lo, to our widening vision dawns the realm of soul supreme. Faith-lighted speaks of spirit stand revealed in morning's beam. Hymn 287.